Here's how I finally got lean after 10 years of failure. My name is Rio and I'm the founder of Polarity Fitness, where we help busy men transform their bodies in less time. In this video, I'm going to take you through the workout that built my body and the lessons that will transform your physique. Throughout my entire childhood, I was overweight. And I had very low confidence, low self-esteem. I was insecure, I was made fun of. And a lot of people look at me and they're like, why should I listen to this young guy? He has no experience. Well, what most of you guys don't realize is that I've actually been into this fitness stuff since I was a little kid. I mean, I did my first diet when I was like 10 or 11 years old. So it's something that has plagued me for a very long time. Like, I've been fat for a much greater portion of my life than I've been in shape. And really the main driver for me at the time, besides the low confidence, the insecurity, being made fun of, was soccer. So my biggest passion in life before I found fitness was soccer. And so my weight was a big issue. I was slower than the other kids, I was less agile, and come like 11, 12 years old, I had a coach that was, the owner of an academy that I was trying out for in the city. That was a big level up from my little town club. And he told me, he's like, Rio, like, you got to lose 25 pounds if you want to join this team. And so that's when that switch flipped and I went full on into weight loss. And that's when I started taking this fitness stuff really seriously. And that's actually when my passion for fitness took over my passion for soccer. The fitness approach that you guys see me teaching on this channel is ultimately the result of years of trial and error and eating shit. So I've tried literally everything under the sun. I've tried keto, paleo, fasting, all this different shit. And for me, it felt like I was constantly taking one step forward and two steps back. I could never sustain any of those diets long enough to actually get results. And maybe that's something that you can relate to as well. And ultimately, that's why I created the Polarity Fitness community. It's to cut your learning curve in half and ensure that you don't have to go through the years of trial and error and sift through all the bullshit that I had to go through. I, like many guys, fell into the skinny fat category. The first route that I took in my fitness journey was to lose weight because I was overweight, and that was the right decision. But I eventually reached a point where I realized, oh my God, like, I'm literally skin and bones. And that's because at that point I hadn't taken up weight training. So I was basically in a very aggressive calorie deficit and I was stripping off body fat, but I wasn't doing any strength training, so I wasn't building any muscle underneath. And I eventually reached this point where I was skinny fat. You know, in clothes, I looked very lean, I looked skinny, potentially even fit. But when my shirt came off, I had this small layer of body fat. I looked a bit soft, I looked a bit pudgy, and you know, a lot of guys in that in that situation, they think that the solution is to cut. They're like, oh, I have this small layer of body fat, I need to focus on trimming it off. But really, the issue is that you don't have any muscle mass. And so when you choose to cut, when you're in that skinny fat position, basically what happens is that you get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. You know, you tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna lose 5 more pounds, and then I'm gonna transition into a bulk. And then you lose that 5 pounds and you still have that small layer of body fat. And you're like, you know what, 5 more pounds. And for me, that cycle continued until I was basically 113 pounds and anorexic. And that's because the problem I was trying to solve was the fact that I had that small layer of body fat. But really the issue was that I had no muscle mass underneath, and that should have been my priority. So in the first year of my training, I literally just spun my wheels and made no progress. So like most people, my approach when it came to learning about fitness was to find the biggest and most impressive individual on social media and then mimic his approach. And so that's exactly what I did for the first year of my weight training. And that led me into the world of mainstream fitness instruction, which revolves around 4 to 6 workouts a week, you know, tons of isolation exercises, a lot of volume in each workout. And I made absolutely no progress. And worst of all, fitness was literally consuming my life. I was spending hours upon hours in the gym every week, and so I eventually realized that the return on investment just didn't make sense. I was putting in so much time, I was getting so little in return, so I decided, fuck this, you know, I'm gonna reduce the amount of time I'm spending in the gym. And then a really interesting thing happened as soon as I did that. So I started working out just 2 to 3 times a week, and not only was my life no longer consumed by fitness, but I started seeing the best results. And that's when I realized, I had a little realization, this big epiphany that, you know, these mainstream fitness routines, the people I was learning from, what they were doing didn't apply to me because they were taking drugs to build their physiques. Like, their physiques were a direct result of steroids, not sound fitness practices. And so that's when I realized what these guys are teaching does not apply to me, and that less is more. And that's ultimately how I stumbled across the Polarity fitness training philosophy that revolves around 2 to 3 low volume, high intensity workouts per week, emphasizing recovery. So the number one key to building the physique that I have now was ditching the more is better mentality that's so common in weight training and in the fitness industry, and instead adopting the less is more mentality. So with Polarity Fitness, we train just 2 to 3 times per week on brief but intense workout routines. So we follow a low volume, high intensity training approach whereby in each workout we do fewer sets and fewer exercises, but we put way more intensity and effort into that reduced amount of training. And we follow a low frequency training approach where we're training just 2 to 3 times per week and giving our bodies plenty of recovery to actually grow and recover between workouts. Fuck, man. So what I would say to 10-year-old Rio is, if you can't do it for life, don't do it for a day. So there were so many things that I did relating to diet and training at the beginning of my fitness journey that just weren't sustainable. And what I didn't realize at the time was that fitness and health is an infinite game. So in life, we have finite games and we have infinite games, and fitness and health is an infinite game, because if you want to stay in shape for your entire life, which I'm sure you do, you're going to need to continue sticking with the habits that got you in shape in the first place. And you know, a lot of people, they're able to get in shape, but they're not able to sustain that shape year after year. And that's because what they're doing is not sustainable. And ultimately, the key ingredient to success is consistency, right? Consistency beats intensity any day of the week. And consistency stems from sustainability. And ultimately, you know, the unsustainable shit that I was following was a result of all the bullshit information in the fitness industry. And ultimately why I created the free Polarity Fitness community was to cut through that bullshit and help you guys avoid the pain and the years of trial and error that I went through.